Hello and welcome to this video on blockers in poker. Blockers are applicable to several different types of poker. However, in this video we will refer to poker as no-limit hold'em and vice versa. In this video we will look to cover a variety of areas regarding blockers in poker. To start, we will discuss what blockers are. We will then move on to some common situations of using blockers. We will also discuss how blockers are used in range construction. Finally, we will look at some simple examples where we can apply blockers. As you know, poker is a game of incomplete information. The main information available to us relating to what cards are in play is what two cards we hold. This is where blockers come into play. What we can do is determine what cards are available to any opponents based on our two known cards. If we think about it logically, if we are dealt the ace of hearts and the ace of spades, it's impossible for any opponent to hold these exact cards. As we would say, we block them from having our cards. This in essence is a simplification of what blockers are. A more technical term would be: blockers are the effect your own whole cards have on the combinations available to an opponent. We will start to delve into this as the video progresses. Let's have a look at how combinations and blockers are related. I have a video on combinatorics and combos which covers what combinations are. Go check that out if you are unsure. We will start by looking at all the possible combinations for ace-king offsuit. Now let's say we are dealt the ace of hearts. This removes all these possible combinations that our opponent may be dealt. Let's say our second card is the king of spades. This further removes these possible combinations. By holding the ace of hearts and the king of spades, we have blocked 5 combinations of hands. Let's just have a quick note on unblockers. Unblockers are the opposite of blockers. This is where the cards you are dealt have no effect on the combinations available to an opponent. If we take our ace of hearts and ace of spades again, these cards do not prevent the opponent from having any other hand that does not include these specific ace cards. Hopefully I've not lost you yet. If it all sounds a bit confusing, hopefully these common situations where blockers come into play will help make it clearer. The first and probably most common use of blockers at a novice level is blocking the ace-high flush. Let's say you are dealt the ace of hearts and the 5 of clubs. In this hypothetical example, the flop runs out: 8 of hearts, 2 of hearts, 6 of diamonds. The turn is the 10 of hearts, the river is a blank queen of clubs. Now you're playing an opponent who will only call a river bet with the absolute nuts. Do we have a good opportunity to bluff him off any made hands? Pause the video if needed and take your time to have a think. Well, in this situation we do. As we have the ace of hearts, we block our opponent from having the absolute nuts. Knowing our opponent will only call with the nuts, we can profitably bluff in this spot. I think this could be the best example of blockers as it relates very directly to our hand and its interaction with the board. Moving on to another type of blocker: straight blockers. These are cards that help block straights. In this example, let's say we are dealt pocket nines. The flop runs out 6, 7, 8, rainbow. How does our pocket nines interact with this board? Again, pause the video if needed and have a think about blockers and unblockers. Well, we can see that a 9 in our hand helps to block the straight of 10, 9. Having 2 9s in our hand is much better as this helps to block the straight twice. This is called double blocked or double blocking. Now, here we can also consider the effect our hand has as an unblocker. We have double blocked the top end of the straight, but we have unblocked the bottom end of 4, 5. The more advanced technique used for assessing an opponent's hand strength is using blockers to consider an opponent's available bluffs. For this example, let's say we are dealt queens, the queen of hearts and the queen of spades. The board is the ace of hearts, king of diamonds, 10 of hearts, 3 of hearts. Action runs out, and we are on the turn, facing an all-in from a player we don't know. We can consider that he is bluffing the over cards trying to make us fold. But, if we consider our specific hand to call with, we hold the queen of hearts, which blocks a potential flush bluff from our opponent. This means there are less combinations of hearts available for the flush. Therefore, it is more likely our opponent has a made hand. Another problem with holding queens here is that our opponent would like to bluff with a combination of queen, jack. This is because there's a straight draw. But, as we hold queens, we double block that bluff, reducing the combinations available to bluff with and increasing the likelihood of a value hand. This is where blockers start to become very confusing for beginners and even some intermediate players. You would think holding the queen of hearts would be good as it reduces the number of flushes that we lose to. However, in this instance it removes flushes and weights the hand more towards pairs. We will have a deeper dive into blocking combinations and ranges in a second. Some final examples of blockers that we won't cover too deeply here are ace hands blocking strong pairs, top set blocking top pairs, and 2-pair blocking sets. These are just a few more ideas surrounding blockers in poker and are something to consider when playing poker. When constructing ranges, we want to have a good combination of strong value-orientated hands and some weaker bluff-type hands. This may sound silly to contain bluff hands as they are weak. However, weak bluffing hands are important to prevent us from becoming exploited. The simple example of this is, if we only play strong hands, players will know to make correct folds with their weaker hands and go for value with their nutted hands. So, when we build our range, we want to include weak ace hands to balance our strong ace hands and high pocket pairs. A lot of pre-flop ranges are already solved using solvers, but to understand why they are optimal and why certain hands are included within these ranges, we can take a simplified look into a certain range. Let's have a look at an example. We are sat next to a player, let's call him Garrett. We know Garrett plays a typical open range from the low jack, shown here. We are now dealt the ace of hearts and the five of hearts. We decide this is a hand we can raise as a bluff. The logic here is that Garrett will want to fold hands like ace-6 through to ace-9 and the smaller pocket pairs that are all ahead of our hand. But why use ace-5? The short answer is because of blockers. If Garrett decides to 4-bet us in this spot, we will have to fold as our hand will not be strong enough. However, Garrett will want to 4-bet us with his premium hands such as aces and high ace hands. Well, as we hold an ace, we reduce the number of hands that Garrett will 4-bet. We have just 3-bet Garrett and he is now pondering his best move. Let's have a look at what range Garrett uses versus our 3-bet. Just as a quick note, this is a simplified range, but let's not get bogged down by that now. Hands shown in green are going to be 4-bet, hands shown in blue are a mix between call and fold. Let's just say they are all calls for easier calculations, and hands shown in gray are always folded. If we have a breakdown of this range, there are 48 combos that want to be 4-bet, meaning Garrett is looking to 4-bet 23.1% of the time. 68 combos that want to be called, meaning Garrett is looking to call 32.7% of the time. And 92 combos that want to be folded, meaning Garrett is looking to fold 44.2% of the time. Let's see what happens when we do the same breakdown with blockers. As we now hold an ace in our hand, we block all other combinations of hands in Garrett's range with an ace. This is shown as the highlighted squares. The available combos for Garrett to use has been adjusted using our blockers. Garrett now 4-bets 20.3% of the time instead of 23.1%. This is because the ace in our hand blocks a portion of Garrett's 4-betting range. He now calls more with 36.8% instead of 32.7%. This is because our ace unblocks a lot of Garrett's calling hands. All the remaining hands are folded at a marginally greater rate of 44.2%. So, as you can see, 3-betting a weaker ace can help balance our range well when we consider blockers. Before we wrap up this video, it is probably worth noting now that blockers and unblockers should not be used as a definitive rule on how to play. They are great for deciding on the best line and helping to make use of the little-known information. However, they can often be weighed on too heavily. We still need to consider the opponent type, the action that has already occurred, situational tilt, and many more factors. So, use blockers to help analyze the situation, but don't get too hung up on them. That's the end of this one. To summarize, let's have a quick run-through of what we have covered. We had a look at what blockers and unblockers are in no-limit hold'em. We had a look at some typical situations where we should consider blockers, along with a few examples. We then had a look at how blockers and ranges work together and did a little analysis of a simple scenario. Finally, we mentioned the disclaimer for using blockers and unblockers. So, there it is, an overview on what blockers are and a few ideas on how to implement them within our game. Thanks for watching, and if you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing, and let's practice poker.